Let's get right into it. Number 1. The over-explainer trap. Ever notice how some people, when asked a simple question, launch into a story so detailed it feels like you're reading a novel? This isn't just a quirky personality trait, it's often a sign of deception. Psychologists call this the over-explainer trap. When someone is telling the truth, their answers tend to be straightforward and to the point. But when someone is lying, their brain goes into overdrive, scrambling to sound convincing. They pile on unnecessary details: what song was playing, the color of the wallpaper, the exact time down to the minute. It's a subconscious attempt to make their story seem more believable, but ironically, it often has the opposite effect. The more details a person adds, the more likely they are to trip themselves up. Real memories are consistent and connected, but fabricated stories are stitched together on the fly, making them prone to contradictions. If you want to spot a liar, pay attention to the density of their details. Are they giving you a play-by-play when a simple answer would do? That's your cue to dig deeper. The over-explainer isn't just sharing, they're hiding, hoping you'll get lost in the weeds and stop asking questions. Don't be fooled by the flood of information. Sometimes less really is more. Number 2. The voice betrayal. You might think you know someone's lying by what they say, but often it's how they say it that gives them away. The human voice is a powerful truth detector, and it's surprisingly hard to control under stress. When someone lies, their body reacts even if they're trying to keep a poker face. Stress hormones like cortisol tighten the muscles around the throat and jaw, making the voice crack, drop, or suddenly shift in pitch. This is what experts call micro-tremors, tiny involuntary vibrations that slip into speech when someone's anxious or fabricating a story. You don't need fancy equipment to catch these cues. Just listen for sudden changes. A voice that goes higher or lower mid-sentence, words that come out rushed or oddly monotone, or a laugh that sounds forced. These are all signs the speaker's body is betraying their mind. Even professional liars can't always mask these subtle shifts. The next time you're suspicious, focus less on the words and more on the delivery. Is their voice steady and natural, or does it sound like they're auditioning for a role they haven't rehearsed? The truth has a rhythm, but lies often stumble. When the voice wavers, it's often the first crack in a carefully constructed facade. Number 3. Eyes wide open. We've all heard the advice: look them in the eye if you want to know if they're telling the truth. But here's the twist: liars know this too. In fact, many people who are being deceptive will overcompensate by holding eye contact for just a little too long, trying to appear sincere. It's called eye contact overload, and it's one of the most misunderstood cues in human behavior. Honest people naturally break eye contact as they think, remember, or process emotions. Their gaze drifts, their eyes move, and their expressions change. But a liar, especially one who's watched too many crime dramas, might lock eyes with you, barely blinking, as if they're trying to hypnotize you into believing their story. This intense, unblinking stare isn't a sign of confidence, it's a performance. The irony is, the more someone tries to look trustworthy, the more unnatural and unsettling it feels. If you find yourself in a conversation where the other person's gaze feels more like a staring contest than a normal interaction, take note. Real trust doesn't need to be forced. It's comfortable, relaxed, and unself-conscious. So next time you're searching for the truth, remember, it's not just about looking someone in the eye, but noticing how naturally they do it. Number 4. Emotional lag. Imagine someone says, "I'm so happy for you," but their smile appears a beat too late, or their eyes don't light up at all. This is what psychologists call emotional lag, a telltale sign that the emotion is being faked or forced. When we genuinely feel something, our facial expressions and tone of voice sync up instantly with our words. But when someone is lying, their brain is multitasking, crafting the story, monitoring your reaction, and remembering to act out the right emotion. That's a lot to juggle, and sometimes the timing slips. The result? A delayed smile, a frown that arrives after the apology, or laughter that feels hollow and out of place. Our subconscious is finely tuned to these micro mismatches, even if we can't always explain why something feels off. This is why bad actors and insincere apologies are so easy to spot. They just don't ring true. If you notice someone's emotions seem to lag behind their words, or their expressions don't quite match the situation, trust your instincts. Real emotion is immediate and effortless. Fake emotion needs to be loaded, like a buffering video. When the feelings don't match the words, it's often because the truth is missing from the script. Number 5. The pronoun slip. Listen closely to the words people choose, especially their pronouns. When someone is being honest, they naturally use I, me, and my to take ownership of their actions and experiences. But when a person is lying, they often distance themselves from the story sometimes without even realizing it. This is called the pronoun slip. Instead of saying, "I didn't break the vase," a liar might say, "The vase wasn't broken," or "Nobody broke it." Notice how the I disappears, replaced by vague or passive language. This subtle shift is a psychological defense mechanism, a way for the brain to avoid guilt or responsibility. Studies of police interrogations and written statements show that deceptive people use fewer self-references and more formal, detached language. It's as if they're trying to wash their fingerprints off the story. The next time you're listening to someone explain themselves, pay attention to how personally they speak. Are they owning their words or hiding behind impersonal phrases? The difference can be revealing. Honest language is direct and personal. Deceptive language is often evasive and distant. When the I goes missing, it's a clue that the truth might be missing too. Sometimes what's not said speaks louder than what is. Number 6. The calm faker. Not all liars are jittery or nervous. In fact, some of the most skilled deceivers are the ones who seem almost unnaturally calm. This is the calm faker, the person whose composure feels more like a mask than a genuine state of mind. While most people experience a spike in anxiety when they lie, leading to fidgeting or nervous habits, some liars go the opposite direction. They suppress every visible sign of stress, sitting perfectly still, speaking in measured tones, and maintaining steady breathing. It's impressive, but also a little unsettling, like watching someone imitate human behavior from a script. This kind of calm is often the result of conscious effort or years of practice. Think con artists, poker players, or people who lie for a living. But even the best calm fakers can overdo it. Their responses might be too polished, their reactions too slow, or their empathy strangely flat. You might notice a mismatch between their words and their body language, or a lack of genuine emotional response. True composure is relaxed and natural, not robotic. If someone's calm feels hollow or rehearsed, it's worth paying attention. Sometimes the absence of anxiety is just as suspicious as its presence. Number 7. Memory meltdown. Memory is a living, breathing thing. Real experiences are woven into our minds with sights, sounds, and emotions. But when someone lies, their story is more like a patchwork quilt, stitched together on the spot. This is where the memory meltdown comes in. Ask a liar to repeat their story later, and you'll often notice the details start to unravel. Timelines shift, facts get fuzzy, and new elements appear out of nowhere. That's because lies aren't anchored in genuine memory. They're isolated fragments invented to fit the moment. Over time, it becomes harder for the liar to keep track of what they said before, leading to contradictions and inconsistencies. Detectives and psychologists know this well. They'll ask the same question in different ways, or revisit the story days later, just to see if it holds up. Real memories are consistent even if the details fade. Fake stories, on the other hand, tend to morph and mutate. If you notice someone's account keeps changing, or they struggle to recall what they said earlier, it's a major red flag. The truth doesn't need constant editing. When a story can't stay straight, it's all